No matter how long the list of absurd third or first party game launchers gets, there will always be one old reliable: Steam. Initially released by Valve in 2003 as a means to provide automatic updates for their games, Steam developed into including games from third-party publishers and then also expanding into online web-based and mobile digital storefronts, and from there became the largest digital distribution platform for PC gaming. Now on Steam, the amount of games you can find on the platform is endless, from the biggest of high-budget AAA titles to the smallest of indie games. And while there are plenty of finds on Steam that are amazing, in equal measure, there are plenty of games that are total fucking garbage, and that's sort of the focus of this video. Over the years, I have made plenty of content on AAA titles and just talking about games that I either enjoy or dislike, and I thought maybe it was time for a little bit of a change. And that change is going to come in the form of something truly magical. Don't get me wrong, I love what I do. The content I make, I wouldn't change it. But today, we're breaking from the norm to go on an adventure. I have set myself a challenge: finding the most cursed game on Steam. Will the production of this video plunge me into a deep existential crisis? Yes. But if there's one thing that people enjoy more than cursed shit, it's suffering. So, in that respect, I'd consider this video to be a goldmine. Obviously, before we go on this adventure, we'll need to set ourselves a series of rules that we'll stick to, otherwise we'll find ourselves lost in the cesspit that is the dark side of Steam for simply too long, and we need to reduce the risk of being exposed to demonic possession as much as possible. Rule number 1 is no AAA titles. We already know about AAA titles. Wouldn't it be boring if the most cursed game on Steam is something that you've heard of? Rule number 2 is the game has to cost money. This isn't a golden rule, I just don't want to play Doki Doki Literature Club. It also plays into the next 2 rules a little bit so that I don't have to go through playing hundreds of cursed Steam games simply because they're free. Rule number 3 is I cannot already own the game, though I will mention the games that I do already own before we look at any of the ones that I go and find. And rule number 4 is stick to a budget. What is our budget, I hear you ask? Well, our budget is £69.69. Why? Because it's 30p cheaper than a modern AAA title on a next generation console, and it's also the epic funny number twice. I also don't want to be sinking ridiculous business expenses into purchasing clapped Steam games, because that's a really good way for HMRC to bell me up and ask what the fuck I'm doing, and I already find it hard enough to explain what exactly it is that I do for a living. It is time to begin. Firstly, like I said, we're going to be looking at the cursed Steam games that I already own. I suppose people will want me to give mention to Gary's mod, which isn't initially cursed, however it can be as cursed as you want to make it. However, if you aren't making the Teletubbies go on a bulletstorm killing spree, then frankly you're simply playing the game wrong. Then we have VR Chat, which again isn't initially cursed, however it's absolutely full of creatures. Wait, why the fuck has my brother recently logged 86 hours into this game? Now this is where things start to actually get interesting. Introducing Shower with Your Dad Simulator 2015. Wait, why does it have a year in the title? Did they plan to make more of these? The premise of this game is very simple. You play as a child, and you simply have to run to the correct dad. The game is made a touch disturbing by the 8-bit penises that are on your screen, as well as the alarming implication that the game fails if you run to the wrong dad. What do they do to this poor boy? But most alarming of all is the fact that somebody had to sit there and think this game up, and whoever's idea this game was needs to be on a fucking register. Next up we have Who's Your Daddy? A multiplayer game in which you play as either an infant trying to commit suicide or a useless father trying to prevent an infant from committing suicide. Who thinks this shit up?
Slow cooked baby for dinner. Your wife's gonna be pleased.
Slow cooked fishy.
Yes.
For me, the joy of playing this game came from doing the complete opposite thing to what I was supposed to, which reminds me that I should never become a parent because I drowned my virtual baby in a swimming pool. Next up is Make America Great Again, the Trump Presidency. There's really nothing to say about this game besides from the fact that it was almost as absurd as his actual presidency. And now it's time for me to unshackle my inner maniac and dive straight into the deep end of the dark side of Steam. The first game I checked out in my search for the most cursed Steam game of all time was Avary Attorney, which cost me £10.99. You play as a bird who happens to be a lawyer in 19th century France, except 19th century France is run by all different kinds of animals, and frankly it's an odd concept considering the art style simply cabbages your brain. There's a fun little story in this interactive novel of a game, but something about this art style, while it's unique, just physically hurts my eyes. The art style's a little bit unsettling, and I would say don't do drugs before you play it because, well, you're already on drugs. The sense of humour in the game is a little self-aware considering, however it sometimes lands and the dialogue at times can just be drop-dead hilarious to read. And from what I've played, the game also has plentiful plot twists, though at times those plot twists will make you think, why the fuck did I bother doing anything at all? But you know you're in for a banger when an on-screen character model makes you think, what the fuck is that? And that's more or less my entire experience with Avary Attorney. Would I say this game is cursed? I mean, it's definitely weird and at times unsettling for sure, though I can't quite pinpoint why, but I suppose we're easing in because, boy, do we have some nightmares to come. Next up, we've got Granny Simulator. Only £3.99, what a bargain. What a delightful looking oh my fucking god! For a game named Granny Simulator, the main objective took me by surprise. Kill your grandmother. You play as a toddler who's surprisingly good at parkour, and you've got to find means to murder your nan? Okay. I mean, at first I attempted to approach my nan for affection to see if it would work, and instead she sprayed me down with something and punted me like I'm a football, so I'm starting to understand why she needs to die. Maybe if you didn't kick me so much, I wouldn't need to kill you. This coffin dodger needs to learn there are better child discipline strategies than kicking your grandson out of a window and then falling down the stairs. And I suppose the only means for a toddler to drill this lesson in is to lob shit at her until she expires. What happened to a good old-fashioned Nerf war, you fucking Luddite? Didn't mean it, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, I understand why this game exists of all things, because at one point or another we've all fantasized about committing grievous bodily harm against our relatives. And I will say, through the challenges of trying, it's really satisfying when you manage to murder your dear old gran. There is a bit of a darker side to games like this, however, because in the development of it you can tell there was somebody who just needed a hug. But I don't know which is worse, the fact that this game exists or the fact that when I was playing it, I was thoroughly enjoying it. The animations are janky and it's 100% a Unity asset flip, however, despite that, I enjoyed getting tased by my grandmother. Grandparents are not here forever, kids. Enjoy it while you can. Though if you are a kid and you're watching this video, stop. I would have tested out the multiplayer and tried to play as the Gran, but something tells me at the time I was the only person actually playing this game, and though I do have friends and could have asked one of those to join me, something tells me they have better things to do, as they all either have degrees or work reasonable careers. Meanwhile, I'm just here playing cursed games hoping that it might earn me some cheddar. If you thought this was going anywhere but further into the depths of Steam madness, then you were sorely mistaken. Introducing Hitler Hates Anime. Of course there'd be a Hitler game in here somewhere. I know spending money on a game that focuses on Adolf Hitler isn't a good look, but it's only £2.09, and besides, he's been dead for 76 years and probably can't hurt you. It's only gone and bloody set off my antivirus. How Steam got to be this unfiltered, I will never know. Yeah, there's only so much of this that I can show before YouTube gets very upset with me. So we're just going to cut our losses and move on. That brings us to another unholy artifact of Steam, Fuzz Dungeon. What the fuck is Fuzz Dungeon? This game looks like a total acid trip, so naturally it would be a prime contender. And for £2.89 there is simply nothing to say but yes. This is the song I imagine plays in the heads of serial killers. I've just started the game, and the character already has Pornhub open. I feel if there was vocabulary out there that accurately describes this game, then it would defeat the point of the game. Fuzz Dungeon can only be described as every single drug at once. Somebody has visualized a fever dream and sold it as a game, and I knew that from the instant it prompted me to touch the Sasquatch sex amulet. When something tells me this game isn't even about Bigfoot fucking, so what on earth is going on? There wasn't a single second playing this game where I didn't question the existence of reality itself. And the more of this LSD nonsense I played, the weirder it got. This game is comprised of various mini-games, though none of them make any sense at all, but I now know that I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with my therapist later this week. But perhaps the most unsettling thing about this entire experience is the realization that for this to exist, there is a literal human being somewhere who imagined all of it. This game is the vast inner workings of a man's shattered psyche, and there is nothing about it that is even remotely sensible. From what's in your face to the sound design, my impression is this game is designed to make you feel incredibly uncomfortable. And if that wasn't the intention, then whoever made this game failed spectacularly.
You have stolen the Sasquatch sex amulet.
Where am I?
You are in the Fuzz Dungeon. How did you get here?
Believe me, mate, if I knew the answer to that question, I wouldn't be here at all. This experience is all the way cursed, and yet through all of it, in a morbid curiosity kind of way, I actually kind of enjoyed playing it. Not that I wouldn't prefer to be playing as a toddler attempting to murder my nan. To be fair to this game though, it is the kind of punishment I would expect if I stole a Sasquatch sex amulet. Whatever that is. And if you ever want to get lost in logicless madness, then Fuzz Dungeon is not a bad shout. Well, at least we know it can't get any more cursed from here. What on earth is that? I remember watching a friend of mine stream through this game, like a speedrun sort of challenge thing, and this game is called Baldis Basics Plus, and yep, there's no break today. For £7.19, I thought, hey, it's probably worth the lifetime of trauma that it's going to give me. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? Turns out just about everything, as Baldis Basics Plus is a mild horror game, as it puts it. What do you mean fucking mild? Look at this shit. Oh my god, do we have to? The premise of Baldis Basics is you play as a student in a school run by a head teacher called Baldy, and you play hide and seek with him. You've got to collect several notebooks before he catches up with you, and you can hear him coming in the speed he's approaching at as he cracks his cane down the hallway. The horror aspect comes from the fact that Baldy always knows where to find you. In a kind of I don't want to admit it way, this is a serviceable horror game. There's plenty going on to distract you from completing your goal, allowing Baldy to find you, which you don't want, and those encounters can be pretty hilarious. You can find tools that may help you in your ploy to escape Baldy, but no matter how much running you do, Baldy will never escape your head. However, one bald guy in a green sweater is not the only terrifying thing you might encounter while playing Baldis Basics. No, there's really all sorts of unhinged madness going on. None of it makes any sense, but it's happening just the same. Next up, from the creative genius that brought you Fuzz Dungeon, we have... oh, here we go. Sometimes to deal with the difficulty of being alive, I need to believe there is a possibility that life is not real. Yeah, that's the title. For only 79p, this game better be a zinc. This man is on some shit. Funnily enough, not dissimilarly to Fuzz Dungeon, this game, the name of which is simply far too long, is equally as mental. This game comes packed with our second existential crisis for the past 20 minutes, and is crammed with anti-capitalism. I'm starting to believe that the man who made these games is of a very disturbed psyche, but that's okay because at least I get to play as a pizza. Somebody imagined all of this. Is there a purpose to this experience? Is there fuck? It's just pure existential angst for the sake of it. And so just like Fuzz Dungeon, this game is fully cursed. But you know what? In a weird, unsettling kind of way, at least it's entertaining. Moving on, now we have Tree Simulator 2022, and apparently they've been making tree simulators for a while. Wait, is that Comic Sans? Please, no! So, for £2.09, I thought, what could I possibly have to lose by not checking this game out? And it was exactly what I expected. You're a tree. That's the game. There is really nothing more to it than that. You can move the camera around and look at yourself as a tree, but there's no actual gameplay or anything like that. It's just a tree in a space with the sun that moves maybe, but beyond that nothing really happens. This is a game that costs money. I'm not entirely certain what else there is to say about this one, so if you want to live out your wildest dreams of becoming a tree, play Tree Simulator. But I will never get over the fact that somebody made this very simple game and went, yes, this is worth charging people for. That is if you could even call this thing a game to begin with. I feel like the evil underworld of Steam has something for simulators because next is Nihilist Simulator, a game that comes packed with a suicide warning on the Steam store. This game cost me £3.99, which I mean isn't too bad to be fair. However, when I played the game I realised the last word that I'd used to describe it is tasteful. You're not even really a nihilist, all you're doing is finding means to kill yourself. The challenge is you've got to do all this harm to yourself before your health regenerates so that you die and avoid living a really painful life. However, when you die, you just respawn and you've got to do it as many times as possible before you get outrun by your own health bar. Along the way, you come across various hazards that you can use to your advantage, if you want to call it that. And I suppose once you get the concept of wanting to die out of your head, it can be a little bit of a fun pastime. However, I'm not entirely sure quite what this game is trying to tell us. Is everything okay at home, sir? Obviously fucking not, he's dead. This cycle repeats itself until eventually the health bar starts regenerating faster and faster to the point where you will fail and survive, at which point you'll get the same fail message on your 10th run as you might have done on your first. I suppose, just like a nihilist sees no point in life, I don't see the point in this game. But maybe that's the point in itself. Holy fuck. Next on our hunt, we have come across Furry Shakespeare, to date or not to date cat girls. Do I have to play this, guys? Really? I guess my good pal Alex says it's 100% worth it, so I should definitely give it a try. But I really don't want to. Ah, fuck it, it's only £6.19. Oh god, this is going to be fucking horrible. I tried to look past the fact that this game is ridiculously odd. However, when you fire a game up on Steam, depending on other people's settings, they can get notifications for it regardless of whether or not it's relevant to them. And the thought of people seeing me play Furry Shakespeare to date or not to date cat girls was too much. But I don't understand who thought, you know what we need? We need a modern retelling of Shakespearean plays, but furry. Which is what I presume this game is about, but fuck me, I'm not touching that rubbish. This game can go die in a grease fire for all I care, but hey, if you enjoy it, good for you. But get that shit the fuck off of my hard drive. After that unholiness, we need God to re-enter our lives. Introducing John Christian, a game that seems to be about some guy who gets the armor of God or something. It looks a little bit wonky. There's also simply far too much heavy metal in the trailers for me to actually understand what the game's about. But £2.89 seems like a reasonable price for the reapplication of religious zeal into this video, which is what we so desperately need. Blimmin' heck, this game is actually bigger than I thought it would be. I'm a little bit put off already by the fact that the game's logo is a Corinthian helmet, which is ancient Greek, and even Christians would agree that God didn't exist back then, because apparently the world's only existed for 2021 years. Or something, I'm sorry, sorry, please don't burn me. Also, I'm going to start referring to Corinthian helmets as circumcised penis hats, because don't tell me you don't see it. I don't know about you guys, but this was exactly the kind of godly input that I was looking for. Does it make sense to me? No, it really doesn't. But you play as a guy who chases around loads of Bibles or something, and when he prays to God, God actually helps. Which he never does to me. Please God, bless me with thy cheap car insurance. Fuck you. The more of this game I played, the more I took the religious aspect seriously, because there was simply nothing else that I could possibly take seriously. Because before long I was baptized by a weird man, and it was honestly a really strange animation, and it made me think anything could be happening here, and it became obvious that the game carried itself with the same lack of self-awareness that's possessed by a Catholic priest. And this gave me some weird over-the-top armor with no textures, and the weird man just simply floated away into the sky. The rest of what I played of this game is best described as a really terribly made platformer. You know those games that are made not through the passion of making the game, but through the passion of the subject the game is about to appeal to people who like games? This is how I'd best describe the feeling of playing John Christian. It's like a religious indoctrination for gamers, but done really wrong, because it plays with the smoothness of wiping your ass with sandpaper. But I have nothing else to say about this game because I can barely even describe it as a game in the first place. Next up, we have Super Lobster Run, which cost me £14.49. What the fuck? That's the most expensive game on the list. At first, it seems like a simple 3-track runner game with a very basic gameplay system, but after a while, as it layers more and more madness on, you start to realise that it's a total acid trip. And if you think it looks weird, just remember that I'm saving you from the aggressive, no copyright dubstep music that plays in the background. The more of this game you play and the closer attention you pay to everything around you, the more you realise that everything looks traumatized. What the fuck is that? If you like playing as a lobster and running across the sea, across space, and also the pits of hell, then Super Lobster Run is a game worth checking out, I suppose. Just don't fall into the lava. You'll burn, die, and then explode. And as we all know, that's exactly how lobsters work. Despite being fundamentally loopy, Super Lobster Run is actually a really fun time, and if anything, the madness that comes from simply being a lobster running through the depths of hell really helped make this runner game a little bit more on the memorable side for what it is, but it's also still just a little bit mad, because the universe is trying really hard to kill this lobster, and nobody knows why. Why are there these dancing golem things? I couldn't tell you. The game doesn't explain why. All you've got to do is simply run to safety. But I'm starting to think there simply may not be such a thing as safety for this poor lobster. It's a nice relaxation break from some of the other unholy artifacts that we've shown in this video, but at the same time, the base concept is still one that makes you go, what? But in a way that I wouldn't describe necessarily as similar to Granny Simulator, it is satisfyingly fun. And it's one of the few games on this list that I'm glad I found. But for a price like that, I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't cure cancer. You know we've got to put something sports in here. Introducing Jerry Rice and Nihilist Dog Football. What is that? Who cares? It's about dogs. Add that shit to the cart right fucking now. There is no world in which this is a waste of £2.09. Oh, look. An average Twitter user. I actually don't know what there is to say about this game. It's just a game in which you play American football, but it factors in dogs. Dogs are cool, but I don't understand why this game needed to exist. I'm sure this next game is going to hit home for some people. Introducing Dinner Date, a game that Steam told me doesn't look like something that I would be interested in based on other games that I've played, but I'm not entirely sure what I'd equate it to that I have played. So for £2.89 I risked it anyway to find out that Dinner Date is about a date that goes so wrong that your date doesn't even show up. It's a game about being stood up. So much for escapism. Why did my friends encourage me to make this video? The premise of the game is simple. You sit and fiddle with things while the character ponders over what the hell is going on and how he can refocus his evening to make it positive and fail miserably in the process, and also realise that everybody in his life uses him. It's quite a sad game really, but at the same time, the man dabbles bread straight into ketchup, so I think he deserves every bit of bad luck that comes his way. And it's an interesting setting for you to expect your date to just simply rock up, considering you're in a house. Maybe his date's been outside this entire time and he just didn't let them in. Furthermore, if simply drinking wine makes you black out for a bit, it's entirely possible that he murdered his date. This is such a miserable game, and the names of the chapters make it seem even more miserable. You've got introduction, the clock, the bread, the soup, and then the cigarettes. Somebody get this man some help. If there's anything else to say about this experience, then I can't think of it. So we're going to move on before I have a midlife crisis of my own. We're going to shift gear entirely now because the next game that we've got to cover is called Blood and Bacon. And boy, for 79p, we're in for a wild ride.
Jesus Christ.
I can only describe this game as unfettered animal cruelty for the sake of it. I believe it's supposed to be a zombie survival sort of game, except all of the zombies are pigs, and you've got to kill them all violently. It's a ridiculous concept with no grander meaning, it's just to justify mindless violence against pigs. I get the vibe whoever made it isn't a fan. You begin every day on this farm by speaking with the farmer, who appears to be in quite a healthy state, before picking up your regular farming tools such as pistols and AK-47s, and going out and murdering all the livestock. At least we know it's an American farm, I suppose. And yeah, that's it, that's the game. The only fitting way to describe this game is absolutely dreadful. The loading animations alone say it all. Jesus fucking Christ. The blood spatter animations are also very over the top, but I suppose that's to put emphasis on murdering pigs, which is more or less the only substance that this rubbish has. Wait, how do I have 15 Steam friends that have played this? Now this next one just simply has to be in this video. Gabe Newell Simulator. Considering we're looking for cursed games on Steam, the inclusion of this game seems only fitting, though Steam seems to think this game is similar to Grand Theft Auto 5 and Borderlands 2, which I highly doubt. However, is £1.99 a fair deal to embrace what it is to be Gabe Newell? I suppose. And so the premise of the story of this game is quite simple, I believe. Half-Life 3 gets announced, and that's how you know that it's definitely not an accurate simulator, and so for some reason it's been locked into the securest part of the Valve headquarters facility, where you as Gabe Newell need to fight monsters through the Valve headquarters to get it. Why there are monsters on the loose in the Valve headquarters, I will probably never know. However, for some reason, I don't find it too difficult to believe. So maybe this is what Gabe Newell's actually been doing all of this time, fighting monsters in the Valve headquarters for some reason. But I'm also inclined to believe that inside the Valve HQ, this is actually how Gabe Newell looks. And for me, a simulator about Gabe Newell shooting up monsters being on a list of cursed games found on Steam feels a little bit like this video coming full circle. I suppose it doesn't have to make sense for me to be glad that it's here. After that, we need quite a stiff drink, so introducing Need for Spirit Drink and Drive Simulator. What is it with Steam and simulators? though I do suppose it's better to emulate drunk driving rather than actually doing it, and you can do so for 79 pence, which I don't know about you guys, but that seems definitely more favourable to a prison sentence than a driving ban, but not so much the risk of accidentally killing someone in your car because people suck. The premise of this game, as it puts it, is you step into the shoes of a hapless professional driver tasked with transporting various alcoholic beverages such as beer, spirits, wine and brandy to certain venues like birthdays and other miscellaneous celebrations. The issue being you as the driver also have an addiction to the booze you're transporting, and so you drink it. It's basically a drunk driving simulator, though I found it difficult enough to drive sober. The driving controls in this game are dreadful. I also noticed in third person the car doesn't actually have a driver, so maybe we don't actually exist. So what even is sobriety, I suppose? I just find it hilarious that the main selling point of this game is being drunk and driving when the driving mechanics are up wank creek, as even before you factor alcohol into the equation, you're crashing into everything as is. And often those crashes are completely unavoidable, which can be especially annoying when you find yourself completely stuck and having to restart. Trying to take corners and weave around obstacles is also something of a nightmare, but what more can you really expect from a game that's just a mindless bit of Unity engine fun? But someone sat there and went, you know what we need? We need a game in which you can drunk drive. Because what could possibly go wrong? And that brings us to the end of today's violence, leaving us with a remaining budget of £3.55, with which I can go down to Tesco and purchase some coconut water and drink away my sadness with more sadness. Disgusting. We have trawled through many a cursed game today. Many ridiculous games out there on Steam that you can just as easily buy as a AAA title, except at a fraction of the cost and have tons of fun with. But of the games that we've played today, which do I think is the most cursed? Well, that title will have to go to Fuzz Dungeon, because I honestly couldn't make heads nor tails of that game. It was mad. But regardless, I found some games along the way that I really enjoyed playing, such as Granny Simulator and Super Lobster Run. There have also been some terrible games, but it doesn't really matter, because at the end of it, I had fun making this video. It was a good time. I found some fun little games that I can kill time with on the way, and I found some games to definitely avoid in future, and it felt good to know that I could do all of that and still spend less money than I would do on one AAA title that I may have liked or may not have done. And it felt good to pay attention to some of the smaller games that you might find on Steam and wind up with a 30-minute video that I'm genuinely proud of, rather than 1 or 2 10-minute long videos that I would dedicate to games that are fresh out of the box, AAA titles worth 70 quid, all that. And while I am not saying that one is superior to the other, I am saying that this video was a satisfying change of pace, even if it led us into the dark corners of people's imaginations at times. And that's okay, because what is the point in making a game if you can't, at the very least sometimes, run wild with your imagination? Granted, for some of the games covered today, that imagination is twisted and could probably do with some therapy, but I don't regret this adventure and would happily do similar content like this in future. In fact, once I've got a few ideas together, I think I will. Though I'm almost certainly going to swerve the furry shit, apologies. But that brings us to the end of today's video. So thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed making it. Be sure to, if you want to, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. That would be super fantastic. And check out the social media stuff too. That would be sweet. And if you want to go ahead and follow me over on Twitch, then you can find a link to that channel down in the description if you so wish to. We have a good time over there and it's really good fun and definitely worth checking out, because as fun as videos are to make, it's good to actually have that interactive content where we can communicate. Furthermore, if you have any ideas as to where we could go from here and what else we could do in this sort of style of content going forward, not at the expense of the other content of course, be sure to let me know down in the comments section. But for now, this is where I'm going to leave you. So thank you all for watching, take care, and goodbye.